Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm going to be continuing the Apple hardware test Mac Pro shenanigans. So in the last video you saw that I basically went over the issues I was having, then I dropped the hardware back to its pretty much stock configuration graphics wise, and I took the USB card out. And then I tried doing Apple hardware test and a few other things. Well, mainly I tried different things to do Apple hardware test. And basically, the conclusion I came to at the end of the video was that you can only net boot off of Apple's servers for hardware tests. Sorry about the shadow there if that's annoying you. You can only net boot off of Apple's servers for hardware test if your machine shipped with Lion or higher, which my Mac Pro, of course, shipped with Leopard. So basically, I came to the conclusion that I couldn't do it that way. And then I told you I would do something, or I would try it another way and then continue the video, and then I decided to end it and do two parts. And so this is part two. So I came across this article, that's what you're looking at, and if you look closely, you can see run Apple hardware test from a bootable USB stick. And that is what I'm going to be doing in this video. So I'm going to pull the charger on the MacBook and just flip it around so I have access to the USB port, because I will be needing that. The USB on the other side is taken up by my iPhone, and I have that plugged in because it was running out of battery, and that's my camera. So just flip that around. I think this is going to be a really cool video, just for what I'm going to be doing right now. And so, of course, it says from bootable USB stick. Well, you see, I have a USB stick that absolutely refuses to boot off, can't talk today, like I said in the last video, same night. That USB stick refuses to let computers boot off of it. And that's the only one I have available. I don't know where my others went. But there is one other thing I have, one other option, and that is this. This is my 8-man action camera recommended by Mr. Owen Crisp of Owen Crisp. I'll put a link to him in this article in the description along with Kyle. But so this is my camera, my 8-man action camera. And so you're going to be wondering, why am I using this? Well, if we go ahead and plug in the USB cable here, I think that's the right way around. Of course it's not because it's USB. Right. There we go. If we do that and then we plug in the camera, and that's the wrong way around, of course. If we do that, you can see it posts, and then you get the battery charge or whatever, and then you can see mass storage or PC camera. So you can have this device function as a mass storage device, and then basically the plan is I'm going to set this up, I'm going to format it as Mac OS 10 extended journaled or whatever, and basically follow these steps here, and then try and boot off of it on the Mac Pro. So I'm booting off of my camera. So, kind of sketchy, but hopefully it works, and I'm going to switch to a screen recording of me setting that up. So sorry for the bad audio quality. There's a few factors contributing to that, and why is that coming up? That is not supposed to do that. Anyway, basically, so what we're going to be doing, of course, is screen recording what's going on. You can see I'm using QuickTime, so the computer's probably going to start screaming its fans and whatever. But yeah, so there's a few things I'm going to start off with, and I'm just going by the tutorial here. So the first thing I want to do is download Apple hardware test for my computer. So if we go down here, we find download links, and if we go to Mac Pro 4.1, I just open that in a new tab and it downloads it. And I already have that, downloaded it before, and that is right here, that one. And then you can see untitled is my drive on the camera. That's the SD card in the camera, so I'm just going to OCD that up there. And so the first thing we want to do, apparently, and that's the wrong thing, is go to Disk Utility and scroll all the way back up and then back down to Run Apple Hardware Test from Bootable USB. So the first thing is format the disk as OS X extended, and it doesn't say which, so I'm just going to go with journaled. And I'm going to call that hardware test. And then, well, it doesn't really matter. It renames the drive, so I'll just call it untitled. So, and I actually tried this off camera just to make sure just to like teach myself how to go through this process. I didn't try it on the computer yet though. So format it OS X extended whatever, and then GUID partition map, and then erase, and it's gonna fail because it always does that. My boss was telling me why, I don't remember exactly. It has something to do with unmounting the drive, and when you, I think he said when you erase it the first time, it unmounts it, but it still fails, and then if you just go through the process again, it'll just like do it fine. So, kind of interesting, but oh, yep, starting to heat up. And I'm not plugged in, am I? Just realized that. Where's my charger? Here it is. No, that's not it. Yes, that is. Should probably plug the computer in, considering it's on 12% battery. So yeah, it's not erasing, is it? It's acting weird. Oh, there it goes. It did that before, so I just kind of... Anyway, so you can see we have a drive called Untitled now, and so if we click back here and then we go to Terminal, which here it is, it's at the bottom. I'm just going to clear that another time. We go to, copy everything. I'm supposed to copy this stuff over to it. So, I think we can quit disk utility, and some things happen. So you can see, if we go to, if we click on the DMG and mount it, it brings up these, and then if we go to Untitled, that is, of course, the camera. If we drag these over, I get an error, and it says that F7 TSD cannot be copied or replaced or whatever because it's invisible. So it's like a system folder. It's like an important thing that it's not going to let us copy. So if we go to Carbon Copy Cloner, let's try that. That's going to come up with an error. So actually, I don't think I was supposed to do that. Anyway, if we go to the DMG or whatever, we get this error, and it basically says the same thing. Yeah, it says it. From what I gather, it's saying that because we can't. There are certain things we can't copy. So, what I'm gonna do is the disk duplicate or whatever command. So if we go to disk util list, we can see that Untitled is devdisk1 and Apple Hardware Test is devdisk2. So if we type in, I'm going to go to the sudo, or the super user thing there. You just type in sudo, so you learn that at work. I learn a lot at work, actually. dd if equals slash dev slash disk1. No. So the source is disk 2 and the destination is disk 1. So I'm going to double check that. So dd if equals, that is a hyphen, isn't it? That's not an equal sign. There we go. If equals devdisk2. So the source is the hardware test, and then of devdisk1 is that. So that looks good, and just a thing to note here, the dd command, be careful with it. If I were to accidentally put devdisk0 and hit enter, it would copy that onto my boot device and ruin the boot device. That's what my boss told me, at least, and it does seem logical. I may be wrong on that, and I may be misquoting him, but yeah, just be careful with it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and that is 1. I changed it back. Gonna double check a third time. And if we do that, resource busy. Forgot about this. Disk util unmount disk / dev disk 1. And then we do that one, and it will copy. So you can see now everything comes up. Sorry about the fan noise in the background. That is indeed the computer. And you can see we have my archive, internal drive, network storage, pool, that's my server, and remote disk. And then you can see we have these two Apple hardware test D1s, or done, or whatever that's supposed to mean. But if we go there, both of them have F7 and TSD, or whatever it's called. So, not done in terminal yet. So you can see we have that. So I'm going to click out of that and go over here. And which one is which, I don't know. So I'm going to eject both of those. And then I'm going to unplug the camera. And then it turns off, of course. So plug it back in. Wait for the camera to turn on fully and give us the menu. And then select mass storage, and here we go. It is back. Yes, it is. So that is the one we're going to do. So the next thing we want to do is open up the tutorial again and type in cp-r and all this stuff right here. So you can see all that. Let me move my cursor so you can actually see it. Then I scroll back, and basically what this is doing is it makes the drive mountable. So if we go up here, and I already have all this typed in from earlier, if we do that, just okay. So I'm gonna try that again, and we get the same error. And I'm just going to leave it like that, just kind of see what happens. So if we go to that one, then we have to type that in. And in theory, everything should be ready now. And if it's not, then we kind of like know what's wrong, and something to troubleshoot is that, if it doesn't work. So yeah. With that said, I'm going to end the screen recording and switch back to filming from my phone. So it is now time to test everything, and I went back through my terminal outputs, and it looks like that no such file or directory. It looks like that's normal. So yeah, let's test it out, and hopefully it boots. And I need to, that's not good. I need to unplug my computer to plug in the monitor. So hopefully it doesn't run out of battery, because of course the phone is charging off the computer, which is only at 14% right now. So I don't think it's going to run out of battery, but hopefully it doesn't, because that would suck. Anyway, so we are going to turn on the computer, or at least try to turn on the Mac Pro. And of course doesn't go on the first try. Who is actually expecting that? Which is weird, because you can see, let me show you this. You can see the camera in frame? Yes, you can. If you look at it, relay trips and it gives USB power. Trips off and it disconnects power, because the camera turns off when you unplug it. That's interesting to me. I'm just going to pop that and then pop it back in. And try this another time. Alright, well, it did something that time. I'm going to go ahead and quickly plug in the camera, because I unplugged it because I was power cycling it so much, I didn't want to damage anything. Option, hold down Option to boot off of whatever, so you can see mass storage. And were we soon enough? Were we quick enough? Or are we going to have to restart it again? And now that it's working, we can restart it through the UI. There we go. Lovely. That actually worked. It actually, I think. But yeah, fan revved up. That it does it when it's in the boot menu for some reason. That's what I would have to deal with for like days on end because the machine would just run it at full speed or whatever. Return Apple hardware test. Lovely. It's doing something. It's actually doing something. That's wonderful. I cannot tell you how happy I am that it actually worked. So, I'm just going to zoom out about that far so you can see what's going on still. And bring the mouse over. So select or use English as the main language. Yes, please. I do speak English and I took German, but I failed my second year of it. That's laggy, but oh well. So it's probing the hardware. It's probing the hardware. May take a minute. So I'm gonna zoom in even further on the thing there, and you can see estimated time to complete is 3 minutes or longer, depending on the amount of memory installed. Or we can go to perform extended testing. Takes considerably more time, and it changes to an hour or longer. Because it is, I don't have a clock going at the moment. That is easy to access, so I don't know, it's probably 11:30 at night or 11:40 at night. I think I'm gonna run the full extended test. Hopefully it goes relatively quickly, and I will just continue the video once it is done, or tomorrow or something. So I'm doing a voiceover now because I didn't get any good footage or any footage at all really of the post-test results and everything. But you can see if we look at it, we did get one error, and that's an unsupported or not recognized video card. And if we go into the hardware profile, you can see, of course it's a static picture, but you can see there's a hardware profile tab. If you go in there, it doesn't recognize the 5770 that we were using to test it. So the results for this came up as unconclusive, and another thing I wanted to say is the RAM came up as 2x4x4x1, so that's a 12 gigabyte total configuration, which of course I have 24 gigs of RAM in the machine. So I thought that was interesting, and also I noticed, I'm actually using the Mac Pro right now, it's a few days later, but I was going over the screen recording that I did of setting up the Apple hardware test boot device, and there's a bunch of like audio static, so I wanted to apologize if I like blew out your ears and rip headphone users, you know. So yeah, anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. There's more to come still, another part, but yeah, like I said, that's gonna be it. So thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.